Hello all, Georgie Somerset here, General President of AgForce. I just wanted to talk on a few things to do with foot and mouth disease, biosecurity plans on your own properties and lumpy skin disease. I want to assure you that AgForce has been deeply involved for the last 6 to 8 weeks around the lumpy skin and then the foot and mouth disease response at both the state and the federal level. We're working really closely with Biosecurity Queensland because that's where our responsibility lies around connecting with members and making sure that we've got our plans in place in Queensland. But we also have representatives working with the federal department and with the National Farmers Federation to ensure that the AusVet plan and other plans in place are fit for purpose and that producers are sitting at the table when we're reviewing those plans. And that's our role, is to make sure that your producer voice is being heard. We also have a task force at the National Farmers Federation, and the Cattle Board at AgForce is taking the lead on this, closely supported by the Sheep and Wool Board. We are deeply concerned that there of any chance of an incursion, because we know that it won't just affect our red meat producers, it will also impact on every part of our supply chain. It will impact on all our commodities, and it will impact every rural community that has the incursion and our trade, obviously, globally. That's one of the reasons from a trade perspective that we know that this is also a really sensitive issue to be dealing with, and we need to deal with it in a science-based and a fact-based approach. And we need to make sure that we're working really closely with Indonesia, and I really welcome the supply of more vaccinations to them and ways that we can support them. And obviously we're seeing that happen through industry and through government. We welcome the lift in biosecurity measures last week and the week before, but we do call for more biosecurity funding and for stabilisation of biosecurity funding and a lift in biosecurity funding. These are not the only things that we're having to deal with. Obviously, varroa mite recently, we're dealing with fire ants in southeast Queensland, which should never have made it here. And so we do want that lift in biosecurity funding long term. What I also want to touch on is what you can be doing on your properties. No matter what sector you're in, I'd really like to encourage you to get out your biosecurity plans. We all have a general biosecurity obligation in Queensland. Have a look at that biosecurity plan and see whether it has in place the things that you need to keep your property safe. Have you got the policy in place around people who've travelled overseas recently? So you might like to choose to put in something where somebody who's been overseas in the last 7 days or 14 days can't enter your property, and you need to then notify people who might be coming onto your property. They might be coming to read a meter, they might be coming to inspect cattle. You need to check with them before they come and make sure that they know what your biosecurity plan is. How long are you holding stock for before you integrate them into your flock or herd? Have a think about that and where they're coming from. And obviously there's the clear one about observing for signs of both lumpy skin and foot and mouth disease, particularly in Northern Australia. Obviously with lumpy skin disease, the vector is an insect, and we have less control over where insects travel than we do over our borders. I'd really encourage you to make sure that your transfers are up to date with the National Livestock Identification System, particularly if you do in between properties, so that if there were to be a standstill, that you know where your cattle are and you have all your details up to date. Biosecurity is everybody's obligation, and we are asking travellers just to follow all the guidelines when they are travelling and coming in through the airports, but we also need you as producers to do your bit. Last week you will have received an email from Meat and Livestock Australia and Integrity Systems if you're a red meat producer, and on Wednesday night there's a webinar being run by MLA with industry and government represented, and I encourage you to be part of that webinar and listen into what you can learn. AgForce will also be running some more information sessions in coming weeks. We will put that information in action on Tuesdays, so please read action. We do have a biosecurity landing page, so you can find this information and links to Animal Health Australia and similar websites for up-to-date information. But read action on Tuesdays. Talk to your regional councillors. Please talk to your neighbours as well. This is something where you need to be talking to each other to make sure that all of you are looking after our biosecurity. It is all of our responsibility, and I thank you for all that you are doing. Please stay in touch and take care.